So the number one question that I get from my home buyer community is, how much should I have saved before I buy a house? And that's going to be very unique to everyone's situation, but I'm going to tell you what I did for me, and as well as some industry best practices that'll help you. So the first thing you want to save for is your down payment. So that is going to be determining of the home that you buy. So let's use the example of a $300,000 house. If you decide to go the FHA route, you're going to need 3.5% of that $300,000 price point, which is $10,000, $10,500. That's the down payment alone. Now, if you go the conventional route where you can put down as little as 3%, 3% of $300,000 is $9,000. So right now, again, this is number one. This is the down payment. We haven't even talked about the other things you're going to cover. So we already have on our budget to have at least $9,000, and that's just for the down payment. And again, I gave you the two options. If you go the FHA route, 3.5% of 300,000 is 10,500. If you go the conventional route, which is 3% down payment, 3% of 300,000 is 900,000. And if you go the VA route, which doesn't require a down payment, this doesn't even apply to you, okay? But these other things will. So that's the first thing, the down payment, determining how much you want to put towards your home. And my recommendation as a first-time home buyer is to put down as little as possible, because you're going to need that money for so many other things. And it's important for you to have money in your account for things going wrong, because things will go wrong, okay? But you'll be prepared for it. So let's move on. That was one, the down payment. Number two, you need to consider the closing costs. So closing costs are usually around 3 to 5%, sometimes I'll say 2 to 5% of the total purchase price. And again, you want to be conservative here and aim for around 3%. That's how much my closing cost essentially was. So your closing costs, if it's 3%, again, of this $300,000 home, that's $9,000. So we're already at $18,000 if you go the conventional route. If you go FHA, we add that $10,500 plus $9,000, which is a 3% for the closing costs. You're at $19,500. Like, this is adding up already. Like, we need our money. So that's an example of 3.5 or 3%, So if you decide to have, or if you need more closing costs, 5%, then you're going to have to calculate that. And I guarantee you it's going to be higher than those two numbers that we just discussed. So already, if you go conventional, you're already at $18,000. If you go FHA, which is 3.5% plus the 3%, you're at $19,500. If you go the VA route, which doesn't require down payment, but there may be closing costs, and those closing costs could potentially be $9,000 at a minimum, because usually the average closing cost is around 3%. So that's what we're basing this on this video. Next is money to move, and that includes utilities. That includes actually moving your furniture. And I know that this can be dependent on where you live. So I'll give the example of what it was like for me. When I moved, I hired a moving company. I packed up everything from my old place and moved a lot of it here. And that was around $500. It took around 3 hours. It was around $500, which I think is pretty good. They did everything. I didn't have to lift a finger. So that was wonderful. So that's $500. And then I also had to get my utilities and my trash set up. So to set up my electric, I had to pay an installation fee of around like $200, and that covered the first month. So the installation fee, I think, was like around $100, and then to cover the first month, like, that was an additional $100. Again, this is going to be unique to where you live and unique to which electric provider you go with. For Wi-Fi, I had to get that set up because I was using my friend's Wi-Fi at the time. Long story, but that was around $200 as well. Again, it required an installation fee. It required a new modem because I had sold my old modem. So just these kind of things you don't think about, like, they add up really, really quick. Where I live, trash is not included in the HOA, so I had to pay for the first month of that, which was $76. Like, you see where I'm going with this. Like, everything adds up. So I would say for your moving expenses, you're likely going to need around $1,000 to $1,500. Like, and that's on the low end. That was my scenario. But again, like, you have to think about all the things that you're going to need for your place. What's included in your HOA? If you have an HOA, like, there's so many questions to consider here. But I encourage you to consider electric, your Wi-Fi, cable if you have cable, your water if it's not included, landscaping, you know, you have to pay to have them come out. What else am I paying from a monthly perspective? Gas is about $30. I did have to pay an installation fee for that as well, and that was around $100. Like, this stuff adds up, and that's just a few things. I haven't even covered everything, but those are my consistent bills that are absolutely necessary for me to live. So yeah, that's, again, $1,000 to $1,500 is being very conservative, especially if you have a lot of stuff you're moving, can end up being closer to $1,000 on its own. And then lastly is furniture. So furniture is getting more and more expensive. There are things still, and I've been here for a while, that I do not have. I haven't even decorated my place the way that I want to, because everything is so expensive. So you think about the basic things that you need, like a bed, you know, like a couch, like a dining room table, like my bed. And I'm picky because I need luxury when it comes to where I lay my head. So I'm gonna spend the coin. My bed was around $2,500. I had to get a new dresser, like a whole new master bed set, because I'm in a new place. I don't want my old stuff that's now in the guest room. So yeah, I feel like my room alone was close to like $4,000. And then my couch, $2,000. The coffee table, that was around $200. My dining table, $500. The dining chairs, $300. Like, this stuff adds up. Like, $4,000. Like, I'm gonna just tell you, around $4,000. And the great thing about this number 4 thing, which is your, furniture, is that you can buy things as you get more comfortable. Like, that's something my family always said, my friends always say, like, don't feel rushed to furnish your place, because you just want to make sure that you understand the new set of bills and responsibilities that you have as a homeowner. And rushing to do all that is gonna get rid of, your savings. So, like, take your time and budget for it with each check that you get, because you want to make sure that you have emergency savings. Anything can go wrong, So that's the recap. Let's add up these numbers. I'm going to do my best. I'm not a math girl, but I did write them down. And if you want more insight into these numbers that I'm giving, please check out Ready to Own. This is my 100-page workbook specifically created based on my experience as a first-time home buyer. So I walk through so many things in this book that I've just discussed. Renting versus owning, that's another big question people have. Like, am I sure and am I really ready to buy a home? Like, I give you tons of insight on, like, what you should be considering before you do that. Understanding the cost of home ownership. We're talking about that now. Finding your home, submitting an offer, what that process looks like, closing on your home and moving in. We talked a little bit about that and how that is something that people don't really prepare for. I have checklists on, like, how to find a good real estate agent, like what to look for in a home, and then some important terms like cash to close and things like that. So this is linked in the description below. Please check it out. But let's recap, how much you need to have saved before you buy a home. So again, the down payment, 3% is the minimum for conventional, 3.5% for FHA. So 3% of $300,000 is $9,000. So that's the down payment for a conventional route. 3.5% of $300,000 is $10,500. That is the FHA route at 3.5%. Again, the VA loan, no down payment, you are blessed. So that's where we are right now. Number 2 is closing costs. So you're gonna need 3 to 5% of closing costs, but we're gonna use the example of 3% since that's what we're working with, and that's usually the average of what people will spend. That's what I spent. So again, 3% of $300,000 is $9,000. So if you're conventional, you're already at $18,000. If you are FHA, then you're at $19,500. You know, that's how much you have saved already. And then when you think about your moving expenses, which is actually moving your furniture and moving all of your things from your old home to your new home, I spent around $500 to hire movers to move all my stuff. And then I had to turn on utilities. My utilities included electric, Wi-Fi, gas, paying my landscaper. Like, those are the trash. I'm sorry, that's 5 things already, and each thing was around $200, except for the landscaping, of course. So 200 quickly adds up to 1,000. You know, so we're already at, you know, 18,000 plus, you know, I would say like 1,500. So 19,500 if we are going the conventional route, and these are rough numbers. And then 1950. 2,500 if we are going the FHA route. And then furniture. And again, I'm considering, you know, beds, the simple stuff. Beds, couch, coffee table, dining room table, washer and dryer, if that's not included. Like, that can easily add up to around $4,000. So, you know, this is adding up. 18 plus 19 plus that $4,000 for furniture for the conventional route, we're already at 23,000. And then the FHA route, it's you know, 1,950 plus, you know, the 1,000 for the moving expenses. That's 2,050 plus around 4,000 for your furniture. That's 24,500. Like, so I would say, you know, if we're basing this off a $300,000 house, and this isn't even including seller, you know, credits and, you know, any kind of down payment assistance programs that you should be considering. You don't want to come out of pocket for all this stuff on your own. Like, but if you decided to, just know you're going to need around $25,000. But I highly recommend, especially first-time home buyers, like, seek out opportunities to get seller credits. I got seller credits. So I got $8,000 in, you know, closing cost assistance for my place. They also knocked down the purchase price. So I was able to bring less to the closing table, you know, which means less as a down payment. So they have tons of programs. And if you need tips on like how to find them, just comment below. I'm happy to walk you through how I did it. But they have programs broken down by state, by city, by county, and they have federal, like, countrywide programs. So, like, I would try my best to save this money, number one, but also see what options are out there so that you can use that money for other things that you're gonna need. Like, this is only going to get more and more expensive as these homes become more and more expensive. So that's, again, based off a $300,000 home, but your home may be more. You know, it could be $500,000, it could be $700,000, and you're going to need a lot more to cover 3% of $500,000. So I hope that this was helpful. I have tons of this in the book. Like, it's super detailed. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. And this, again, is linked in the description. But let me know what questions you have about saving. If you need tips on like how to save this money, what strategies work for me, like, I'm happy to support and give you some insight from my perspective. I am a certified financial educator, and I do my best to make sure that I stick to the agreement, but also that I stick to offering my expertise for what works for me. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.